Welcome to our show,
Sleepover Cinema.
This is our show where we analyze the films that created the collective unconscious of the girls, gays, and theys of the late 90s and early 2000s. I'm Hannah Leach.
And I'm Audrey Leach. We are the sister filmmaking duo, also known as Two Pink Pictures, and we have not stopped thinking about these movies since we first saw them.
We're going to explore the good, the bad, and the nonsensical of the very often made-for-TV movies that first inspired our love for film in an attempt to answer the question, are these movies actually good? And at the end of the day, do we really care?
So today we are talking about a true gem, 2005's Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
We were best friends and about to spend our first summer apart.
How about the swims? You try them on.
But a pair of pants would keep us together.
I am so excited.
Audrey, you seem particularly excited about this film, and I want to know why.
There's just a certain brand of, I don't want to say chick flick because I don't like that term anymore, but
Anymore.
Yeah, because I feel like when
No, I agree, but the way you said it is, you sounded like you're like, I used to love the word chick flick.
I was neutral.
But not anymore.
It's just a female friendship movie, and those are the best kind.
Yes, that's very true. I have not seen this movie in a really long time, and I remember it being pretty, grown up for when I got to see it, and so I'm excited to revisit that and see if that is still true. But before we get into all that, we have to start with the facts surrounding this movie. So, Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants was released on June 1st, 2005. Perfect summer release date, love that. Okay, this was interesting to me.
Right when the kids get out of school. Sorry, I just had to say that.
I'm pretty sure it's rated PG-13, which is kind of like a big deal for the genre. But anyway, it's directed by Ken Kwapis, who's mostly known as a TV director. He's currently directing #BlackAF, but he's very much a white man, so I found that to be weird. He directed The Office, Parks and Rec, Malcolm in the Middle, Freaks and Geeks.
No, this makes sense. I put two and two together because I literally just watched, and it's Rashida Jones, and it's this mockumentary thing, and Rashida Jones is in The Office.
Oh, right.
This makes sense to me.
Did you like it? Black AF?
No, I didn't watch it. I just watched the obnoxious trailers on Netflix where you're literally just moving your mouse and it starts blasting. Yeah. So kind of makes sense.
I guess so, but still.
At least there's a relation there. There's
there's a connection. Yeah, that's true. Okay. This movie was based on the novel by Anne Brashares. And the screenplay was written by Delia Ephron, who is best known for writing the screenplay to You've Got Mail. That's major. And what I found funny, the 2005 adaptation of Bewitched with Will Ferrell and Nicole Kidman. Do you remember that?
No. Did you see it?
Yeah, I have super vivid sleepover memories of watching this movie, and it's weird, but whatever. So there's our rough creative team. IMDb logline for this movie is as follows, and in case you have forgotten or need a refresher, a logline is defined as a brief, usually one-sentence, summary of a television program, film, or book that states the central conflict of the story, often providing both a synopsis of the story's plot and an emotional, quote, hook to stimulate interest. So this is the logline for Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. 4 best girlfriends hatch a plan to stay connected with one another as their lives start off in different directions. They pass around a pair of secondhand jeans that fits each of their bodies perfectly. This tagline, I literally laughed out loud as I read. This is genius. Laugh, cry, share the pants. This cast, we have Amber Tamblyn as Tibby, Alexis Bledel as Lena, America Ferrera as Carmen, and Blake Lively as Bridget. And these are the 4 best friends that anchor the film. Do you know when Gilmore Girls ended?
I think I could be wrong. I know that Alexis Bledel was filming Gilmore Girls when this was filmed.
How do you know that?
I've studied these things.
Okay. Well, speaking of Gilmore Girls...
It was definitely going in 2005 and 2004.
So in 2005, what was happening in pop culture? In our world, I will tell you, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire came out. But potentially more importantly, The Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with Johnny Depp came out. Would you care to
I
elaborate?
don't know why that made such an impact.
To me?
To all of us. Like, why did we care so much about that movie?
Well, in my mind, that movie will always fall into a really particular canon, which was that we owned like 12 DVDs and we had a DVD player in the minivan when we grew up. So we've seen like a particular 12 movies like
Countless times.
100 times. I remember knowing this movie so well when I was little that when I was anxious and couldn't sleep at night, I would close my eyes and watch it in my head because I was like,
We all have our movies like that.
yeah, I couldn't do it anymore.
For some reason, I used to do that with Finding Nemo.
That's like a scary beginning, too.
I know, but it's watery.
That is true. It is very watery. I think that was one of our car DVDs also.
Yeah, but it was like second tier.
Yeah. Okay. Other things in 2005. Okay, these are much more serious things. Bush's second term, Hurricane Katrina happened, leading to the iconic Kanye West moment with when he's next to Mike Myers saying George Bush doesn't care about black people. Have you ever seen that video, Audrey?
Of course.
YouTube was born. So think of all like the very creepy, like early internet videos being circulated. American Idol was a really, really big thing. It was on 2 nights a week. Did you know that?
We did watch it.
I know, but I had forgotten that it was on 2 nights a week.
Because wasn't it like audition night and then elimination night in the same week? I think that's kind of what it was.
I think it was like there were the Hollywood weeks at the beginning where it was like 2 nights of auditions and then it evolved.
Yeah, it changes.
Oh, right.
Throughout.
But you mean once they're actually on stage?
Yeah.
Yes. Drama. What do you remember about 2005, Audrey?
I don't know. I had a really wholesome time. Second
too.
grade and third grade. I feel like we definitely were enjoying American Idol though with our parents. And like didn't we always watch? Yeah, I feel like we always watched
it. It was the thing.
I feel like I didn't have an awareness. I didn't know what was going on in the world. I was like,
see, I feel like I always knew stuff.
Like, you didn't know about Kanye though.
No, I didn't know about Kanye, but I knew about other stuff because I listened to the radio so much. It was meant for adults.
I don't think I had one.
Yeah, you were not concerned. No, you did have one. You just didn't listen to it. You had a white one and I had a black one.
I didn't listen to the radio until middle school. And what do you remember about 2005 that's notable?
Literally listening to my radio, being like a really romantically strung out 5th grader, because of course. It's kind of like the last year of actually being a kid for me. I guess it was kind of more 2006. Because 6th grade was so horrible, like bullying-wise, that I feel like I was like a changed individual after that. Mm-hmm. Like before then, I was different. It was also like before even an inkling of an emo phase. What are the things that you remember?
Me and my friend Hunter have a joke about one of the lines in this movie. It's during like the depressing part where the little girl is like dying, but she says, actually, she's not dying yet, but it's once Tibby figures out that she has leukemia. And the little girl goes, "It's called leukemia."
What's funny about that?
It's not. It's literally not in the context of the movie, but something about her delivery. You'll see. You'll remember.
Okay, what else?
So Lena goes to Greece to visit her grandparents in this movie, but I just had no concept. I was not worldly. Like, we're from Ohio. Like, I just had no concept of Greece and Santorini, which I'm pretty sure is where they are. If it's not Santorini, it's knockoff Santorini, which looks pretty magical in real life. So when I saw that, I definitely was like, this is just not necessarily made up, but like, it's like Genovia in The Princess Diaries.
Yeah.
A semi-fictional land. I was like, I want to go.
But it's like PCA. It's like Pacific Coast.
Yeah, but it actually exists. So the last thing I remember is that I'm pretty sure, I'm fairly certain that this was one of the first movies that I cried to because I was moved by the story, not for like any other reason. In the same way that kids cry when they watch Bridge to Terabithia. Because, there's a lot of movies that make adults cry that are for kids that kids don't cry at.
Yeah.
But I feel like Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants is one of the ones where the kids might cry. Do you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I'm about to find out.
Yeah.
I don't really
But now that
remember.
the expectation is in place, I feel like you're not going to cry, so
I don't know. I'm a softie.
we'll see.
Things make me cry. I'm not that hard to make cry. I definitely remember this movie being slightly older than I was. Like, I felt like it's
It
kind of
was
like
a bit of a stretch.
yeah, like it's kind of like when you're a little kid and you finally get to watch Pirates of the Caribbean and you're like, I'm playing with the big boys because that movie's like kind of scary.
Or like even Harry Potter for some kids.
Yeah, not for me because I read all the books, but okay. The three main things that stuck with me. First of all, America Ferrera as non-skinny girl representation, which is funny because she's also like a huge figure in like Latino representation, especially in media like this.
Even now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember being just like feeling seen by the fact that she was like not super skinny.
And it's legitimate. Like, the writing is good.
Yeah, right. I remember them taking it seriously, but not them being like, she wasn't getting like Tracy Turnblatted about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't like it wasn't a joke.
It's well done.
Yeah, I'm excited
And
to
her
see
friends are supportive.
her like, we'll get to Blake Lively. Speaking of which, I also remember kind of related to the body stuff, I think, in my brain, that America Ferrera, I think, doesn't have a love interest in this movie, but everyone else does. All the other girls do? Because I know they all have love interests.
She has no love interest. Tibby doesn't either.
Yeah, she does. There's a guy in the arcade.
It's not a love interest.
Oh, really?
You'll see.
Does that mean that she's gay coded?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
She's definitely not. Like, they are not in any sort of
Okay.
thing.
For some reason.
She's shooting a documentary.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
I remember this kind of.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the last thing I remember is Blake Lively is like definitely like the babe of the group. And that's all fun and games until she like hooks up with her camp counselor. But I remember it being like super traumatic for some reason. But back then I didn't really understand why it was.
Because you don't know what happens. Like, it like is a cut to thing.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, it was heavily implied. Like, I knew that they had, like, had sex or something, but
It's blurry, though.
yeah, but she seemed, like, so shook about it that I remember always being like, when you're 15.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's because she had some, like, weird stuff with her mom, like, connected to it. Like, I feel like it was, like, a...
wait, don't spoil this for me. Let me find out when I watch it. We'll come back to that, clearly.
Yeah.
Okay. So, that's what I remember. It's really not a lot.
Yeah, Hannah doesn't really remember that much. I remember everything.
Yeah, I don't really remember that much, but I'm excited because I love these movies.
Oh, the soundtrack. And I'm not talking about, like,
Score.
I'm not talking about, like, the pre-existing songs, but the score. It goes, na 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 na. Na, 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 na. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh my gosh. It's really good though. And they kind of like, that's like the theme of the score. It's like, na, 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 na. You'll see.
That's giving me vibes of other movies of that era. It's kind of like, you know what has the best score, the best theme is Princess Diaries.
Yeah.
Like, do-do-do-do-do,
Yes.
do-do.
And they bring it back in the second movie. That's good.
I just gave myself goosebumps singing that. It's so good. Okay.
Yeah, it really, literally just hearing that, na, 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 it's like very visceral.
I am really, really excited to watch it. Are you prepared?
Yep.
All right. Oh, when we come back, we are going to address these questions. We're going to talk about how dated is it? What's better now? What's worse now? What did we forget about? And is it good? I feel like we already kind of know the answer, but who knows?
Let's not kid ourselves.
We'll have more nuanced takes.
If you got some time on your hands, which you very well might, this would be a great time. Just pause us, go watch the film, come back, we'll have a roundtable discussion. It'll be a Socratic seminar. Come back with points.
Everyone's required to speak at least twice.
Yeah.
We are back.
My face is tears streaked.
How many times did you cry?
I probably teared up 7 times.
7 times? I teared up twice.
I had a full-on tear down the cheek.
When?
Oh, just the most cliche part.
Oh,
It's not
pants
cliche.
brought me to you.
Yeah,
that part?
yeah.
And Tibby's final stand.
Like
Not Tibby, Bailey's final
because
stand.
their crying is so real. You know what I mean? Their acting is so good. Like they're crying.
Acting is amazing.
All their crying is really on point. And when people cry, I cry.
Yeah.
So like if I feel like somebody's genuinely crying, I just cry. That's it.
I'm kind of the same way, but not in movies. We are talking about Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants from 2005, and we're going to start off talking about things we forgot about in this movie.
I mean, because I've seen the movie semi-recently, there's really not much I forgot about. I would say the only thing that I did forget about is the fact that Carmen's dad's new wife and kids, that their father is an alcoholic.
Right.
I did not remember that. And
I was shook by that, too.
It's supposed to show, like, the cracks in their seemingly perfect family or whatever.
Yeah. They never even acknowledge that, though.
They don't get into it. You don't see it, and they don't really get into it. But I guess to Carmen, that's all she needed to hear.
Yeah. So I just totally forgot. Trigger warning, suicide, mental health discussions, which I'll have to include at the beginning of this, but
This entire movie.
yeah, like, I did not remember that Bridget, aka Blake Lively's mom, was dead. And not only that she's dead, but that she committed suicide. Did not remember that. But it was, like, very well handled, I thought, which we'll come back to. Tibby, as a documentarian, became, like, I forgot that that's kind of what she's doing. Or, like, I knew she was making a documentary, but now that I'm older and, like, we have done it, Audrey and I have done it, like, it just means something different.
I mean, she was, like, watching footage and taking notes and that sort of thing. I mean, that's just, like, what I do on a daily basis. I feel like I relate to Tibby in a new way now because she has that cynical vibe about the world. And she wants to make a film, but she's not really, like, willing to level, I guess, with the people she's interviewing. And then Bailey comes in and she's, like, interested in them and, like, what they actually care about. And that's what, like, teaches her the life lessons, you know?
And Bailey, I mean, you were supposed to go watch the movie, so you should know. But Bailey is the, like, 12-year-old accomplice to Tibby's documenting efforts.
Yes.
So parts that are better now that we're older. Blake Lively's character in this movie is so complicated, so much more than you would ever really process as, like, a 13-year-old watching this movie.
Yeah.
But
because you don't even have the life experience to try to relate to her, so you can't.
Right.
I mean, hopefully you don't. But
hopefully you don't. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's a lot.
Yeah. So just a brief recap of what the situation is. Bridget's mom commits suicide. It seems like she has, like, a history of mental illness. She commits suicide. So it's just Blake Lively. It's just Bridget and her dad. And her dad is, like, awkward. So their relationship is not great. And he's not great at, like, expressing his, like, love for her and, like, being, like, a nurturing parent. And so that is true. And then she happens to be Blake Lively, so she's, like, gorgeous. And she is, like, this star athlete, and she goes to this soccer camp and decides that she is going to sleep with this, like, 20-year-old, probably older, college-age camp counselor. And she's 17 and, like, tells him that, like, right at the beginning.
There was a shot where she's sitting in the cafeteria and they're passing out packages and letters, and she gets a letter from her dad, and it's just, like, super short, and it's just like, sounds like you're having a good time, love, Dad. And then she looks up and the shot pans, and she looks straight at the camp counselor, and she's like,
Yeah.
Hannah and I were saying, like, it's like this very blatant, like, this is going to fill the void of my daddy issues.
Yeah. I had written down, we started talking about how, like, in, like, traditional depictions, how different daddy issues and mommy issues are. Like, if you have daddy issues, like, you want male validation, but if you have mommy issues and you're a guy, you just, like, hate women.
Yeah. Like, why don't we have movies where there's there's teen boys with mommy issues, and they're just like trying to fill the void by like having a crush on a girl. Like that doesn't happen.
That would be nice, though.
It would be nice. I'm sure it's
We
happened.
should write that.
I'm sure it's happened.
That
at
would
some
be
point.
cute.
Maybe it exists. I'll have to think about it.
Yeah.
But
if you know of a movie that's like that,
it's an uncommon thing if it exists.
let us know. I also think that Bridget is like the archetype for like the sad girl, bad girl type thing. Like before that was a thing, like because she's like super gorgeous, but also like super mentally unwell and really reckless. And I feel like, you know, that whole stupid meme that's like, she was the blueprint.
Yes.
Like
she was the blueprint.
she was the blueprint though for that type. The whole thing about the pants, like the fact that the movie is centralized around these pants and like the primary gag of the movie is that they all can somehow fit in the same pants.
Yeah, it's suspend your disbelief.
Yeah, it's magic realism.
magic
Toni
realism.
Morrison.
Yes.
But like the fact that that is the central thing. Sidebar, they're all basically the same size except for Carmen.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that acknowledging body size differences, especially in a movie that's meant for younger people, was really like kind of revolutionary for its time in a way where they didn't make it a punchline like they do in like Hairspray or something like that. Like they were like, oh, we're different sizes, but we can somehow wear the same clothes. Like, because the point is that the movie to me is like really grounded in bodies, like physical bodies. And I thought this at the beginning. It's like Bridget is her body because she's like this hot girl, and then Carmen is like suffocated by her body in the fact that she's bigger than everyone else and the fact that she's the only person of color, and that's like constantly weaponized against her. And then Lena just ignores her body,
Right.
and Tibby like is a ghost person and like doesn't have a body. Slash it's like about like decaying of bodies because of Bailey.
Oh, okay.
Analysis.
Miss Essay.
Coming through. But I was just thinking a lot about that as it was going through. And I think that the kind of like blue jeans, vaguely like sexy association of like the early 2000s is like an element in this movie, but it's made really realistic in the lives of people that you can relate to. And I really liked when Bailey from Beyond the Grave is in her little video and she says maybe we can just get through life and like that's all we can really ask for. Like happiness is about like finding little things that are meaningful.
Maybe it's about stringing together the little things like these pants.
But you know what? I liked that. I was like, you know,
so like
that's a nice philosophy to think about.
Is it cliche? Yeah, but like it's cliches are cliche for a reason. You know? And
yes,
if I feel like people that reject cliches because they're cliche, like in movies, it's like, can you just like chill out? Like really, can you just let your guard down? You clearly are hurt. Like, can we just
let it be familiar?
Just let it, it rings true, okay?
Yeah. I'll say it. I think Lena's plot is fucking boring. It's so obvious what's going to happen, and Alexis Bledel is, like, as compelling as, like, a wafer. Like,
but
she's
you know
not...
what? People love her. It's crazy.
They just love her because
Gilmore
she's
Girls.
good on Gilmore Girls, but only because the person who plays her mom is so good.
I mean, I did watch all of Gilmore Girls.
I don't know how.
Multiple times.
Okay,
they just,
noted.
like, go to a coffee shop and, like, talk about school. Like, it's very easy.
It's kind of nice.
I think the only part of Lena's plot, though, that does make some points, I mean, it's at the most cliche part where she's standing on the cliff right before Costas comes down and she takes off her clothes and they jump in the water. But the thing about, like, Bridget's lost so much and other people have lost so much and, like, they're so willing to put themselves at risk or, like, be intimate with people. And she's like, I haven't lost anything and I'm not, you know?
Yeah.
That I feel like that's like the one part that like made a point. But
I think it made a good point, but it's also like super unearned. Like she just like stands
pretty
there and
close
it's
to the
like
beginning.
a voiceover of herself just saying it.
It was probably definitely taken from the book.
Yeah, definitely.
All those voiceovers.
I had that vibe. Also, like the very heavy-handed wardrobe evolution over her plot line. I was just like,
they gave this girl a perm and a spray tan and said she became free.
They put her in some bright colors.
They put her in
a cami.
a lacy cami and a moped and said, oh, she's free now.
Can't you see?
Can't you see the character development?
That's freedom.
Her face hasn't changed at all. Her soul is the same. She's still blank as cardboard, but...
Blank as cardboard. We also forgot about the fact that, like, the turning point of her letting this Greek man into her heart is, like, the dumbest exchange of all time, where they're on this boat out under the moonlight.
He says, some people like to show their beauty and let it shine for all to see. Others like to hide their beauty
because they want them to see
something else.
And then they're like, they just look at each other and then they kiss. And there's no clarification.
We were like, what is the... What?
Yeah, we were like,
what's the something else?
All right.
It's like, oh, he tried it. Like,
yeah.
And she fell for it.
Yeah.
But all right.
He definitely, it was like he was making it up as he went along and then he like lost his train of thought.
She was like, I don't care.
She was like, let's let bygones be bygones. Let's just kiss. I don't even care about this conversation.
She's like, you're so dumb. But you're so attractive.
Right. We're not here for conversation.
No.
Okay. How dated is this movie / what problematic elements are there? I was pleasantly surprised by how well handled the racial tension in Carmen's new family was.
I thought it was pretty tasteful. 2005? Yeah. I mean, the stuff that was going on, like that.
It was way, 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 way worse things.
Yeah, just
but also
tone deaf. So tone deaf.
But this wasn't tone deaf at all. I thought the scene, there was one really, really good scene that did a lot without saying that much, which was Carmen's like sleeping in the guest room and her stepmom comes in and is like, get out of bed. Maria, who's like their obviously Latina housekeeper, needs to change your sheets. And then she tells Carmen that she doesn't speak English that well. The disdain and the conflict is a lot more implied than literally said, but I felt like that was actually really realistic to how that sort of situation would play out.
Yeah. And it's one of those situations where, like, Carmen can't outright say, like, you're racist.
Yeah.
But it's that, like, uncomfortable gray area. You know what I wrote under how dated is it? As dated as Blake Lively's natural nose.
I didn't even know that she had a nose job.
I did.
Clearly. You brought it up like a million times. So I actually really want to talk about her character again, talking about her boundary pushing. As we were watching, Eric, the counselor at the soccer camp, says no to Bridget like at least 4 times. And he like makes it pretty clear why. He's like, I can't do this. Like, she front loaded the fact that she's 17. Like, she pushes it so hard the whole time. And he keeps trying to be like, no, we're not going to do this. Like, she like sneaks into the club to like
cantina.
Yeah, like a cantina. I don't know. To dance with him, and he breaks it off, and like he's very respectable basically up through then, because who knows how old this character is even supposed to be. But she just like literally does not take no for an answer.
I was kind of seeing also through the user reviews that her storyline is the least changed.
Yeah, there was a really good line where she says, everyone knows obsessed girls can't be held responsible for their actions. And I said to Audrey that that's like a very succinct reversal of boys will be boys. And that kind of runs through like all of her behavior with this guy. Like, just because the traditional power dynamics are flipped doesn't mean that she wasn't
in the wrong.
Not even in the wrong, but just like being too pushy. It was also like a reversal of the whole like playing hard to get thing, because he said no so many times. And she doesn't really seem to get why, even though
because she knows like in her core why, but like she's after it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, as she says.
It's a distraction, basically.
Right, because she's trying to feel at maximum alive to contrast her mom being dead, which she talks about, which like... Yes.
Yeah, and like how she's like, maybe if I'm not sad, then it proves that I'm not like her. I was like,
I know.
I was like, oh my God.
I know, it was wild. That brings us to the final question, which is this movie good? And I would like to invite you, Audrey, to read the user review on IMDb that you found.
Yeah. This is a good one. I feel like it will relate to a lot of the episodes that we do. She says, whoever this woman is, in 2005.
God help her, whoever she is.
This is not a chick flick. This isn't a teeny pop film, and there's no Hilary Duff or Lindsay Lohan anywhere in sight. The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants is about the fears and insecurities that all young people feel as they enter adulthood, boys and girls. We all have to deal with our bodies, with our parents, with love, and with death, and this film deals with all of these issues with honesty, sensitivity, and maturity. And most importantly, this movie reinstates the fact that none of us have to deal with these issues alone. Reinstates.
We'll forgive her for using the word reinstates. Yeah, I feel like that is really, really accurate and like a wholesome way to evaluate the movie. So in the first 10 minutes of the movie, as we talked about a little bit earlier, but then we never really got into, Carmen has this line where she says, talking about her group of friends, "Together, it was as if we formed one single, complete person. Wild, unstoppable Bridget, shy and beautiful Lena, Tibby the rebel, and me, Carmen the writer." So first of all, justice...
Writer is not a personality check.
It's not. Justice for Carmen with that line. But to me, that really... Like, yes, it is just like the classic, like, she's the mean one, I'm the hot one, whatever. But that's not actually what they're saying. And to me, like, what I'm trying to say is that I feel like using that kind of really cliche, like, she's the this one and she's the that one, that kind of thing reflects, like, the ways that teenagers' identities are formed around and then, like, refracted through their relationships with their friends. Like, the way that they view their friends affects how they view themselves. And the fact that these four girls who are, like, just truly the most random combination of people have just decided that they're going to be friends because they always have been friends.
Yeah.
It's just so wholesome that it's hard to not like this movie. And I think that there's, like, another sad tinge to this movie that I could not have ever understood when I first saw it, which is, like, it will be very hard for them to stay friends.
Yeah.
As they get older.
Like, time will test them.
Yeah. And it's like to think about a version of life where you're able to stay friends with, like, everyone you've ever loved just because you want to is, like, so
gets to the core of your very being.
Yeah. Like, it's so escapist, but
yeah, like, we
enjoyable.
Wish, like, what they were able to accomplish, and now most likely a group of friends will last a summer being in different places,
right?
But you know, I think, like, we all are, like, it's like a dream to, like, have that ending where you all come back together and, like,
you're all able to find a way to still relate to each other, even though so much has happened.
Yeah, and you weren't there to see it.
Yeah.
And also that whole, what you're talking about, the, like, you're the this one, I'm the this one, it's them proclaiming to the audience who they viewed themselves as before.
Right.
So that's just, like, an easy way for the audience to be, like, to, like, track their growth, kind of.
Yeah, definitely. So, in my opinion, I think thematically this movie is, like, amazing. And obviously you and I are good at riffing on this kind of thing. I enjoyed it, but I didn't honestly enjoy it as much as I thought I would. Because I really didn't like the Greek plotline.
Really?
Yeah, I just wanted it to be over. Every time it came around, I was like, I don't care. I could have enjoyed it more if
it wasn't Alexis Bledel.
If it wasn't Alexis Bledel. She was just really bad. What if it was Emmy Rossum? That would have been a slay. She would have been the right age.
I can't even process that right now.
I think that would have been a better casting choice. Or, like,
there's so many people that would have been interesting.
Literally, it's like any white girl with brown hair.
But she was a huge moneymaker at the time.
So even though I didn't like the Greek plotline, this has really made me think a lot. Like, I've enjoyed this analysis a lot. So I'm glad I watched it. You think it holds up?
Yeah. To me, it's kind of a little bit of a modern day Little Women in some ways. Obviously, Little Women, they're actually sisters.
Yeah.
So that makes a huge difference. But it gives me that similar feeling.
Yeah, I get that for sure.
But I would only recommend it to somebody that I know would appreciate it. Because it does take a certain...
You have to be willing to level with it in the same way that Tibby levels with her subjects, ultimately.
Her Wallman's employees.
People that can't enjoy these movies for what they are,
I'm like, okay.
I just feel bad for them.
Yeah, me too. Like, okay, you can go watch, like, Avengers or something. Apparently, allegedly, there's going to be a third film of Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. Apparently, it's in development. Hannah says that it's on IMDb.
It's on IMDb.
There is a second movie, and neither of us have any memory of seeing it if we have seen it.
There's no way it's as good.
No, it's not. I know it's not. That's why I haven't watched it recently, if ever, because I know that I'm pretty sure Carmen goes to NYU for drama. Something
we
might
have to watch it literally just for that.
And there's like new love interests and stuff. But yeah, maybe we should watch it. Is
Tibby gay yet?
I don't know. I don't know her storyline.
I don't think that she is. But
Probably
she has
not.
a Pride messenger bag strap at one point.
Like, first of all, it's like a cargo messenger bag.
Yeah, it's like a very gay bag.
Avril Lavigne poster in her room.
Yeah.
Like, she's not messing around.
So maybe we'll keep you updated on, it's called Sisterhood Everlasting.
Personally, I'm not a huge fan of all of these reboots for no reason.
Me neither. I don't like it.
I don't think
even though we're capitalizing on that same market through this show, I just think it's so lazy to be like, Hannah Montana reboot.
Yeah, like, why don't we try to, like, take the elements of those things that made it great at the time and stop just capitalizing off the fact that our demographic knows what these shows are. Okay, now I actually have one thing left.
Okay.
You know how people always say, like, are you a Carrie? Are you a Miranda? Are you a Samantha from Sex and the City? We got to do it for this. And you can do halves, like mixes, because I feel like that's really the truth.
Yeah. Because these aren't, like, fully grown women, so I feel like it's particularly hard. I'm going to do this purely based off of personality. Like, I want to say Carmen in part, but they don't really... I feel like that's not true. You go first.
I guess I would choose, like, half Tibby, half Lena.
Why?
Do I have to say why?
Yeah.
Why?
At least for me. I'll cut it out if you want.
I feel like half Tibby because, like, obvious reasons, like, we're both into, like, film and, like, whatever. And, like, the whole cynical thing I was talking about and just, like, that sort of attitude in a way. And then Lena, I feel like, I mean, I know she's kind of a cardboard box. But I feel like we both have, like, a guardedness, you know? Like, I feel like that. So the combination of those two, like, makes sense.
Yeah.
Pretty quiet, like, sometimes quiet, you know?
Hard to read for some people.
Yeah.
Not me, obviously, but...
Yeah. I mean,
I guess...
Are you going to say, like, half Bridget, half Carmen?
Like, I guess.
Yeah.
Carmen's, like...
Carmen will say what's on her mind, which you don't always do, but I feel like if something's really bothering you, like, you're gonna say it.
Yeah, well, also the thing where it's like she avoided talking to her dad for such a long time, but would be, like, wilding out at everyone else.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that is kind of true of me. I mean, obviously, like, the body stuff is, like, a thing with me, and then the Bridget thing is, like, kind of more of how I used to act, I think. Like,
the brashness.
Yeah, I mean, I still will, like, really go for things that I want, but, like, I'm not as much of, like, a thrill seeker as I once was, and I definitely used to be more of one.
Yeah.
And, like, the feeling maximum alive thing definitely is a thing that I care about still. But it just manifests in ways that are, like, less unhinged now than they used to be.
You know what that means?
What?
That together we are all four.
We make up.
We are the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
And that's the thesis.
That's why we did this.
Just so we could say that. Thank you for listening to this episode. Let us know if there is a movie that you're really excited to hear us talk about. If there's one that you and your friends like to talk about, please send them our way.
Could be a DCOM, you know, could be
a straight to DVD.
Yeah, like
gem
literally
from Sam's Club.
Anything. We've been there.
Anyway, that's that.
Hope you had a good time listening.
This was fun. I enjoyed this one a lot.
This was a good one.
Yeah. Okay. Any last words?
Love your sisters and love yourself.
Live, laugh, share the pants.
You gotta live, laugh, love. You can find more from us at evergreenpodcast.com/sleepover-cinema and keep up with our latest creative projects at twopinkpictures.com. We're on Instagram and Twitter at twopinkpictures and would love to hear from you there.
And if you like the show, if it brings back evocative memories of childhood or tweendom or babysitting, share an episode of your choice with your friends. And maybe even leave us an iTunes review telling us what movie you'd like to see us cover next. Sleepover Cinema is a production of Evergreen Podcasts and is edited and produced by me, Hannah Ray Leach. Special thanks to mixing engineer Sean Rule Hoffman and executive producers Michael D'Aloia and David Moss. Our show music is by Josh Perlman Hall.
We'll chat again soon.
Bye.